It's always a pleasure to look out at this crowd and see those lovely faces, and most of them are smiling. Today we have a great program. It's going to be from one of our own, Chauncey Williams, and he'll be presenting on the Muskegon Community Education Center. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, then have a little bit of literacy, and our reflection will be offered by Alan Albert. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as Alan approaches, you'll get you a little bit of literacy. Literacy is not very useful if you don't have the materials to use it. And in the United States today, we are pretty lucky about what kind of materials we have. Last year, 9 million physical books were published, 191 ebooks, 71,000 audio books, for a total of over 1 billion books in last year. Now you flash back to the 1800s, and before we had the dime novels, the biggest selling book besides the Bible and Shakespeare was Webster's Dictionary, and in 1 year they sold 1 million copies. So 1 million versus 1 billion. The interesting thing that happened then is that the cowboys, who were pretty literate people wandering around with their saddlebags as their only possession, more often than not had 2 books in their saddlebag. One was the King James Bible, and the other one was Shakespeare. And so that's the origination of the cowboy poet. And here's our own cowboy poet, Rabbi Albert.
And before we even start, since we were talking about books, I would be happy to book people to do invocations and reflections, and I have a sign-up sheet. Today I found a poem by Mary Jane Oliver, who was lived from 1935 to 2019, and she was one of the most famous American poets, and she won awards, including many National Book Awards and the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry. This is poem 133, The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out on the grass, the one who was eating sugar out of my hand, who was moving her jaws back and forth and not up and down. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I do not know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to idle and be blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day long. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too short? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Thank you, Rabbi. That was lovely. While we still have your attention, I would like to announce a rather sad news, is that one of our members, Bob Landum, has passed away this week. And so as we continue with our meeting, just keep him in mind, because he was one of our wonderful Rotarians, and he loved coming here, so keep him in mind. And please enjoy your lunch, and we will be back with the program in about 10 minutes. I like to say welcome back, but you didn't go anyplace. It was just me. But we want to start our meeting by introducing our visiting guests and visiting Rotarians. And we have two guests today. One is a guest of myself, and one is a guest of Pam Babbitt. So if Jessica Cook could come up and Steve and Pam Babbitt come up, we will introduce you. And one more. Contessa has a guest. Over here, if you don't mind.
Who's being introduced first?
I'll introduce first. Jessica.
Okay, Jessica.
Here. I want to introduce an old colleague of mine. I mean, I'm the old colleague and she's the young colleague, but it was a while ago that we were actually colleagues. And this is Jessica Cook. And Jessica Cook right now is a human resource analyst for the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, and she is a candidate for the new County District 6. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Hi everyone, Contessa Hood here, and I have a guest right here. Sorry. This is Eleanor Wilson. She is a PTAC counselor of the Muskegon Area First PTAC.
So, on to our program. Am I on? Yes, I am. Okay. Claire Root Benson is going to introduce our speaker, and looking forward to hearing from one of our great Rotarians.
Thank you. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce Chauncey Williams today. Chauncey serves on the board of directors for the Pop-In programs with me, and he and I share some really amazing, talented students who are both in his program that you're going to learn about today and mine as well. Chauncey is the Muskegon Public Schools Career and College Facilitator. Growing up in a community where very few people either had the advantage or took advantage of an education, Chauncey quickly realized the opportunities he would have if he completed education beyond high school. Chauncey wanted to be a model for individuals who were afraid or doubted their abilities. At a young age, he decided to be an outlet for children by showing that going beyond your current circumstances and becoming successful is possible. Being the bridge that connects students to their goals and passions is what he yearns to become. Chauncey currently has a bachelor's degree from Michigan State University in education. Go green. He has also received a master's degree from Cornerstone University, majoring in urban ministry leadership, and an additional master's in education from Cambridge College. In December 2020, Chauncey completed a GCDF, Global Career Development Facilitator certification from the University of Wisconsin-Madison to focus on establishing career pathways at the Muskegon Community Education Center. Through the partnership agreement with the Michigan Department of Education, Chauncey, the principal, our counselors, and teachers developed an MCEC Flex Days model. These days are designed to build upon career exploration, readiness, mentorship, and social and emotional learning. And I'm just going to interject from my written thing here that these are really great opportunities and outlets for our most creative kids. The MCEC program is really innovative, mostly thanks to Chauncey's efforts. Chauncey has over 20 years of experience in educational instruction, management and supervision, and community outreach. The most recent degree he has obtained in the field of leadership encouraged him to take on a community-driven role. As an educator, he believes it's important to continually educate oneself by providing the most relevant and valuable educational methods. Chauncey believes in order for this program to succeed, we need involvement from all sectors within the community. Putting aside our differences and understanding that true success comes from the partnership of challenging yourself and the individuals you support are the keys to personal growth and improvement. So welcome, Chauncey. Come on up.
MCEC is a program that's really designed to help students who have encountered some difficulties in the past, really to empower them and to give them the tools they need to be successful, certainly to graduate, but to get whatever credentials it is that they need to go into the life beyond high school.
The vision has gotten more and more refined. 10 years, 11 years ago when I started, it was a place people were sent when they were in trouble. And so that was the first thing that we worked to change, was not to make it a place that, oh, I got to go there, but a place that people are excited to come to, both students and adults.
A lot of the students that we are getting, they were having troubles in the high school in the sense of attendance, falling behind on classes, not passing, whatnot. Come over here, it's a smaller setting, it is more focused on the kids.
I can't think of a better thing to do. I get to get up in the morning each day and be hopeful. I get to get up each morning of the day to work with other people, both adults and kids, to try to figure out whatever problems might come up, but also just to do the thing where we connect with people in a place where there's close proximity, in a community, to be able to work with people to find their dream so that they can imagine what they're going to be. I can't think of a better job.
My goal for them, and I would say the goal for MCEC in general, is to create lifelong learners, right? I want them to be critical thinkers. I mean, I know high school can be really difficult, and sometimes your peers make it more difficult, but to see that the kids, no matter who they are, what they look like, what their situation is, they really come together and support each other.
Sometimes there's events that happen, and as teachers, we have to be compassionate and understanding of those situations.
We address the problems at home first and foremost with our social emotional learning curriculum, which is True Success, where we focus on how to build the character and understand the values and beliefs people have and how we make those connections through the relationships that we build. Secondly is the career readiness pathway, where we build experiences through career exploration so the kids can start seeing their potential, whether they go to the CTC, whether they go on a field trip, whether they get an opportunity to work as an entrepreneur. We bring those experiences into the space where we can have those partners under a partnership agreement through Michigan Department of Education, where we work in capacity with business entities. We build things that way, so make sure we have the social emotional learning, the career readiness, the career exploration, and that platform is put together so the kid can see their potential and start asking questions that, oh, I can do that, I can become that, and we want to be able to respond and say, yes, you can. This is where the space where your education is enhanced by a collaborating community.
Some of the benefits I got out of MCEC was they started me out on animation, which is one of the things I wanted to do. Another benefit is the early college.
It's been like a turnaround experience. I was lacking like real bad. Like I had to do 8th grade again until they came and got me out of there. It was like a whole life-changing experience. I went from like a 0.9, I didn't even have a full 1-point GPA, to now I'm having like a 2.9 GPA.
That's what's great about this program. We understand that they have lives. Colbert has a job. I had a job when I was in school. I got behind. But it was certain teachers that understood that I had a life. And what I mean by a life is I had to help my family financially just to get by, because I come from a large family of 9 siblings. So we all had to do our part. And that's the reason that I can relate to the students. I know that it might take them a day or two more than expected, but they're going to get there.
I know for sure that if it wasn't for the MTech and MCEC, I would not be graduating today. I know it's kind of hard even for me to say that, because just looking back over it as a young child, it's like, you know, you're looking at all them TV shows, people becoming valedictorians and all that extra stuff. That's something that you want to do. But life hits you hard, so it just depends on if you're going to stumble and fall and just stay down there, or if you're going to reach out for help.
True success to me is having students believe in themselves and feel like they can leave these doors and do something productive with their future. Walking out of high school with a diploma, that's an amazing accomplishment. And that's not always easy, but it can't end there. So having that next step in place, knowing maybe what you want to do for a job, or at least knowing how to represent yourself well if you go in for an interview. Do I know how to make eye contact, shake hands, carry myself well, have my thoughts put together? Do I know what I want to do next steps? People who can contribute to the greater good of our community and society. Those are amazing tools, I think, that lead to true success.
And I think we have just a great team of people that work together that really put the needs of kids ahead of a lot of the things that have caused barriers in the past.
COVID has put everyone through the ringer, but I would not have wanted to be anywhere else. And I'm so thankful that I got to work with my coworkers and work with these students. So I'm grateful to have started my career here at MCEC.
Like I said, it's just a tighter fit here for them. Small class settings, more one-on-one. We're more lax, but we're always shooting for the highest grades. You know, it's the students, having them take ownership and responsibility for their learning, but approaching it in a different way.
Like, they seeing my full potential, you know, like, help me get to where I wanted to be.
They elevated me, so I'm able to draw more of what I want.
That's what we do. We look for opportunities in our city so that our kids can get into those opportunities, can see themselves, imagine their future, and then begin dreaming for it.
You cannot be lost. There are 100 students and there are 8 staff members. So we know when you walk through the doors or when you pop up on Zoom how you're feeling, and we're going to ask you about it. You can't slip through the cracks.
That's what benefited me the most, is to know that I have a team behind me. So it just makes us feel comfortable coming to school. It makes us have something to look forward to. No matter how hard you want to give up, they're not going to let you give up.
MCEC, I'm Mr. Williams, coordinator of student success, the space where your child's education is enhanced with a collaborating community where we focus on the world of work in the city of school through career explorations and flex days. Can't call it no other way.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, fellow ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr. Williams, so you see on the video. Thank you, Claire, for bringing me out and presenting me. It's feel like doing a dissertation because it's been 3 years of work being able to be at this space today. I'm not the coordinator of student success anymore. I'm the career and college facilitator for the whole school district now. So it's like you do a project, you build, but you put people first in the agency that we do at MCEC. So what I wanted to do today was 20 minutes is not a lot of time. So I'm looking at my timer and I'm thinking about what Mike told me, and I'm making sure that I'm on the page because I can drag things out. So what I thought when I constructed this presentation, I said, okay, Claire can chip in and do my bio. I want to give them the embodiment of MCEC because a lot of times when you have minority in spaces, or the black guy that do the MCEC program, no, it's an agency of people that use governance to elect programs and academics to build towards kids. So what I'm gonna do today, it's a model that I teach every day in our True Success model. So True Success is something that focuses on the dinner table conversations that you will have at home to build the social emotional learning skills that kids will get. So every day from 12:20 to like 12:40, I would do a lesson from True Success. But before I do that lesson, at least twice a month, I would do the lesson I'm getting ready to do today. So Mike, you can cue the presentation. So what this is a model that I used to do in a JTC, at MCF, Mission Correctional Facilities. I used to do this model everywhere. But I never got to the point I used to write it on a whiteboard. So then one day my staff members would say, hey, you need to make that a graphic and you need to present that to our kids. I'm like, well, it's not a program, but it's a mindset shift. So what I want to do today, I'm going to start and give you that idea. But I want you to think about your greatest difficulty. Because when we talk about these students, these 100 students, we're talking about people that didn't achieve in high school. They had a hard time, whether it was some social issues, family issues, credit deficient, being truant. Life happens to everybody. But imagine being 16 through 19 and you feel like your world is over and you get behind a year or you have a COVID year. What do you do? So I want to start. So it says the MCEC fam, and I took that from Paul Kurgel. That's our principal at that program. So what this is going to embody on how to change someone's mindset. So I'm going to do my best to go through this presentation. Push down, right, Mike? Yep, there it is. So Mike had asked me, hey, what's the speaker up there for? Did the speaker, does the sound come out? No. See, in this generation, they text everything, right? They send emojis. So we have something called a learner profile. And a learner profile breaks down the CBE, the competency-based education, on how we teach. So we shifted our modulars to teaching for 9 weeks based on a skill set for the foundation for kids to learn something. So let's get started. Process here. When you think about a person, there's 3 ways they think. They can think negative or positive, thinking, acting, and feeling in a negative and positive way. Now, the higher power is the level that you want to go in your life. It's another level that you want to achieve. Is your higher power God? Is it someone that you believe in? Is it something you're trying to aspire to? Or what you want to do with your life? So you can evolve in one way. That means when you evolve, we're talking about seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks. But think about a kid that's behind. Let's give an example. Reading. If they're struggling in reading and they're behind and they've evolved and they got older, but the development is out. So what kind of mind shift is that? Is that negative? Oh, I can't do the work. It's hard for me. So that's when the development comes in. And so how do we change that? So the 4 pieces I have up here are the pathways we go to and it's called making hope a decision. So you go from how you go from your pain in your life to get to hope. So this is the model that when you onboard a student that was failing, how do you get them to shift in their mindset? By giving us examples. If you heard Victoria Broom, she said, I gotta grab the rope. So when you think about choices and decisions, small choices we make lead to great decisions. I'm gonna go to school every day. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna take notes. So the first part is pain, process. So you think about deficit thinking and abundance thinking. When somebody's in a deficit mindset, they put all the excuses in front. I can't do that. My family's not good in math. I don't like that teacher. So all these things are put in front. So that produces a mindset where somebody would dig a hole in their life, and we call that the pity pot. But then with that same person, they avoid opportunities. They look away from it. They shy away from it. I might not be welcome in that space. So that's the angry. So they're always mad at everybody. I got my head down. I'm falling asleep in class, or I'm skipping class. And then that leads to the process of insanity. Doing the same thing you was doing that got you in a situation, how do we adjust that? How do we shift that mindset? And that adds up to the concept of nonsense. And you say, I've been doing this for years, and look where they got you at. So just think with someone that's struggling in that space. So if you want someone to change, you say, hey, how do I change? First is, I gotta have courage. I gotta see myself and say, hey, and I gave the example of reading. I can't read. Well, I know that now. But let me be honest with myself. What level am I at? Am I 16 at a 10th grade, a 10-year-old reading level? If I be honest, I could change my attitude because I can notice the help that's in my peer group. And as I change my attitude from negative and positive, from thinking, acting, and feeling, I will evolve to a better space. So then now, when people show up to help me, and I do this in our program, you want to have parents in your opportunities. When it comes to math, who's your mother and your father? When it comes to reading, who's your parents when it comes to learning? Who is your network? And when I say parent, your mother going to be the nurturer. That teacher that's the nurturer, like, oh, she always have office hours for me, or she always support me. But then that father is like, you're going to do your work at this time. So who are the parents of your opportunities as you move through your network? But then that going from that shift of pain, of being in that pity pot, you get to a space of appreciation and gratitude and say, I'm thankful for the people that's here. I'm glad I changed. And my change can start not tomorrow. I don't want to get it to next year. I'm going to get to it now. And then that's the endurance part where it's going to happen every day. When those seconds turn into minutes, hours, weeks, and months, you build up a positive habit. It say it take 21 days. That's it. But a lot of times we think for 17 seconds, if we can get past something for 17 seconds, the hard is over with, because you'll figure out your support group. But this is the big problem that I've noticed in programs and in everywhere, this word here, shame. Because once you get on the path of changing, and I said it take 21 days, you get in the first 7 days, you're like, wow, I got a passing grade. I increased my reading level by 2 levels. Then somebody makes fun of you. Oh, you trying to learn, you got a book in your hand. And that leads to being spiritually deprived. But then it's like hurt feelings because you're like, where's everybody else that want to succeed and do well? Because you've been building this environment up in this pity pot and your pain, you done found people that's just like you with a deficit mindset. And all you're doing is hurting your who? Yourself. And that produces anxiety. So when you go spaces, you have fear. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be accepted. If I talk like this, they might say I'm talking like and I'm gonna be real with the group. I'm talking like I'm white. But no, that's standard English. It's the King's English. That's how you get into opportunities. And then it becomes this mania like, all right, I want to try it. I don't want to try it. And then the most serious portion of shame is envy. Seeing somebody else do it and you had the same opportunity. And that's the talk behind the back and to try to hurt the person. That shame is rough. And I have those words up there like merge, yield, stopped. But there's still hope for this person. Now we're back to the speakers that Mike had asked me about. Like, what does this speaker talk? No, it doesn't, Mike, but hope. What are you honoring in your life? What are you obeying? What are you prayerful or purposeful or intentional about when the things you're doing in life? And are you doing that every day? So something I do every day, I go to the beach every day and I run. And it's a roundabout out at Lake Michigan. And I came up with this concept, hope is a decision. I say, that's it. What are the 10 things in my life that I'm gonna affirm that I'm gonna live on? I'm gonna honor my health. 2, I'm gonna honor God's word. I'm gonna obey God's word. I'm gonna contribute to charity, tithing. I'm gonna have a positive attitude. I'm gonna obey that every day. But what I'm gonna be purposeful about? I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna be purposeful about being a husband. Because that's identity as a man for me. But then going from there, who are my friends and my family? But also who are my newfound relationships in that purpose? When I meet people, what's my first impression? And do I do it every day when I'm at work, in a career? So then eventually I can build social equity and spiritual wealth. And that's the hope of the spaces that we're in. So these 5 emojis, the heart, the light bulb, the gears, the money, they all lead to this for us. Because we changed our curriculum because we felt that these content standards are not gonna get it. We need student activists in our community. We need people that are creative problem solvers. Oh, I had that problem. I had a parent that was on drugs. I come from a single parent household. I'm gonna be a social worker because I'm gonna fix that problem. A purposeful relationship builder. You're gonna be my friend. I'm gonna help you study and learn. Skillful informational processors. People that can look at information. If you don't know, go ask somebody that does. Economic savvy citizens. That's very important in our community. And the last one, the speaker, is adaptable communicators. So in this space at MCEC, and Mike, if you could, just go back to the website so they can see the logo. So I think I'm getting to my time. That's the logo, and that's not created by me. I didn't make it. 2 students drew it. Bryce Thompson and Ashton, you saw Bryce on there. They drew it, and Graphic Images, Graphic House designed it, and we're gonna get ready to put it on t-shirts. But as you can see, all the emojis are around. The creative problem solvers, the informational processors. But if you look at the model, the city's upside down because my world got turned upside down. And now you're gonna accept me the way I am. And you can see, I see my world with a new lens because that's my full potential. So that's MCEC. I'm not the coordinator of student success anymore, but it is the place where your child's education is magnified by you because you're Rotarians. And we need you in partnership to bring true hope to our community because Muskegon is right in the center of this whole shift of getting the change in the paradigm for our students and community. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, don't go away, Chauncey. I know if I give him the stage, we're going to have a presentation, and I just loved it. It was wonderful. I wish we had this kind of approach when I was in the schools. But do we have any questions for Chauncey? He did such a great job. We may have answered the questions. We have one over here with Judy and Dave.
Of course. Your background in your master's obviously comes from a spiritual underpinning. You get in trouble with that in a public school?
Okay, thank you, Mike. You always need a director. At first I did, but I'm gonna give you the advantage. The space I approach from the motto I showed you, I always use the narrative of my own life. So when I was at an age and I'm working with somebody, I would engage with them at that age, but I will always use my network. So when the kids look at me and say, oh, Mr. Williams, he old school now, or he dressed different. But then somebody see me that they look up to, I use leverage in that relationship, so then they know. It might have been an incarcerated brother that I worked with. I've had that happen to me in the past. So I've always been in spaces where I've been lucky to have, I've been blessed to have the right people and system around me, because eventually my job is to not be employed one day, because my job is to be purposeful in what I'm doing, where I shouldn't have to exist. It shouldn't have to be a career and college facilitator. It shouldn't have to be a coordinator of success. How do you coordinate success? Through hope, love, right? And harmony with each other, and not judge. So if I get to a space when I'm done, that means they done figured it out without me.
One more question?
Hi. Nice, great presentation. Thank you. Where is MCEC located? And tell me your demographics. What are the ages of the students?
Okay. Got it. Thank you. That's why I only had 20 minutes. I had some on my paper, but that's great. So MCEC has moved around. The history of it was at MTech on Apple Street, right? It's moved from there. So then, the bond has passed, so Muskegon Public Schools got everybody jumping around as they build new facilities and spaces. Our final landing space will be Moon Elementary, because we want to make sure we're on that space where it's the alternative program, the new 6 through 10 middle school, then the high school. So now, if you got a kid at either one of those spaces, you can walk in that area. But right now, we're at Nelson Elementary, and we're housed with the Poppins program. So that's where we're at right now, and our demographic is this: about 8 or 9 teachers, 100 students. And what I found out in research, if you want to do competency-based education or project-based learning, that's the agency you want to do it with, because you can have professional learning communities and meetings around how you're going to adjust your curriculum, how you're going to onboard career and exploration opportunities in that space. So did I answer your question? 16 through 19. So that group, when Colbert talked about being in the 8th grade, we tried something called the 8th grade academy, where we brought about 15 8th graders over, and Colbert's going to be in, I think, the 11th or 12th grade next year. So he kind of got me teary-eyed, because I remember getting him, and seeing where he's at today is shown a lot. But it helped us create a 9th grade academy at the high school. So they say, wow, you guys did good with that 8th grade plus. Let's create a 9th grade academy. So our 9th grade academy, because historically Muskegon's 9th grade academy, 9th grade has been failing because it's hard to enter a new space and be ready. So they took our model, what we did with that 8th grade plus, and built it. And that's the one thing I love about MCEC is it's not alternative. I call it a micro school, because we get to do things and pilot it in a space where we can enhance it across the district.
Let us give him another round of applause. Right there, Chauncey. Chauncey, thank you for being our speaker. In your honor, we will be making a contribution to a literacy program. That's very good. And now we have birthdays. Sarah Riensma Seibinga, Darlene Collet is on August 13. Sarah's on August 11th. That's today. Robert Taylor is on August 14th. Dale Strastler is on August 13th. And Aslan Scott is on August 16th. Do we have any of our birthday people here today? Yay! Then you can give us our birthday present. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And now we're going to have a special treat with our vocational services. It's always a special treat to look at one of our Rotarians in a little bit more depth so that they can tell us what they do when they're not here and how that reflects their commitment to Rotary. And today our special Rotarian in vocational services is John Rupert.
Hi, my name is John Rupert, and I joined Rotary Club in 2003 when I started my current position here at Muskegon Co-op Credit Union. I was initially told that I should join a service club by one of my board members who was friends with Gary Nealon. I live in Montague, Michigan. I've been there 22 years. My wife and I have been married for 28 years. We just celebrated our anniversary earlier this month. We have 3 adult children and 2 beautiful grandchildren. I love outdoor things, hunting, fishing, gardening, and in fact, I'll be harvesting 100 head of garlic here next week, and I'm pretty excited about that. I'm the president and CEO of Muskegon Co-op Federal Credit Union. I love what Rotary Club does in the community. I like being involved in community projects. With work and family in the past, I haven't been able to be as involved as I'd like to. Typically, people like to assign me to a role as a treasurer of a committee because they think that that's what I'm good at because I'm in the banking industry. But I would rather work with people, do menial tasks, and serve, at the grassroots level. That's more fun to me and more rewarding. One thing that's exciting for us to announce is that our credit union is expanding. We recently moved in the last 6 months our main office to a larger venue here in downtown Muskegon, and we have expanded to a community charter so we can serve a lot more people that are outside of just our previous core area. And we are changing our name from Muskegon Co-op Federal Credit Union to Route 31 Credit Union.
That's very exciting news, and that gives me just one more chance to flub somebody's name when they change it. So thank you, John. We have today 2 inductions. Kathy Brubaker-Clark will be the sponsor of Maria Schneider, and Lisa Garzaloni is the sponsor of Mike Weasley. If you would please come up and introduce your new members.
Thank you. I'm going to be wearing my sunglasses because I apparently left my regular glasses at my office. Yeah, I am cool, and I'm cool. So, thank you, Marla. I love Marla. I'm so happy she's here. And I am happy she's here. We're very lucky at Greater Muskegon Economic Development to have our new president and CEO, Marla Schneider. Marla, and she does quite often get called Maria, but it's Marla. And she came to us June 1st of this summer, and I'm very excited because we have had the last few years, we've had some excellent leadership, but not always right here in town and in the office. So Marla is actually going to be here in Muskegon in the office most of the time. So with that, Marla previously spent a decade working as the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Greater Fort Wayne, Inc., the lead economic development agency for the Fort Wayne, Indiana region. Most recently, she was the president of Three Rivers Distilling Company in Fort Wayne, which was named the 2021 Small Business of the Year in Fort Wayne, Indiana. She has a BS in Information Technology from the Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York. She was also named a Fort Wayne Business Weekly Magazine 40 Under 40 winner in 2014. She has a 16-year-old son who is starting his junior year in high school today, and a 90-pound golden doodle named Buddy. We're all big dog lovers in our office, so that was a requirement when she came to us. She is currently living in an apartment in downtown Muskegon, but will soon move into a permanent home at the end of September in Laketon Township. Her hobbies include walking buddy, biking, kayaking, and of course bourbon tasting. So I'm sure she'd be happy to do that with anyone here. So Marla Schneider.
All right, this right here. Awesome. Oh, welcome. Hi, everyone. Good to see everyone. Linda Juarez Garzaloni, and it's my pleasure to introduce Mike Weeses. And I think he hates this, so I'm going to keep it somewhat short. Mike is the new CEO of Hackley Community Care Center as of June 1st as well. So a big day, June 1st. Mike is from Muskegon. Many of you we've already run into long-term friends of Mike, so he's known to many of you. For those of you who don't know Mike, born and raised here, he got into service work because of his father, Ed, who founded the Lions Club and was just inducted into the Lions Club Hall of Fame. So he's got fame and honor and service and all that in his blood. So he'll be a Rotary president one day soon. Mike got into healthcare. His undergraduate was in health administration at Ferris, and then a master's in public administration at Western. Came back, and he's been a Hackley boy ever since. And that's where, well, no longer Hackley, Mercy, Trinity, et cetera, et cetera. But I met Mike almost 30 years ago at Hackley when he was in occupational med, and I ran the primary care network. So Mike has been in a number of leadership positions for Mercy Trinity, and until we stole him away. And so we've worked with Mike in the community on a number of issues. I can say he's just like his dad, although I've never met Ed. He's full of honor and integrity and service, and he's looking for some volunteer work. Jenny Sprague or whoever may need him. So here's Mike.
Kind of scooch in with them. Fellow Rotarians, it is a duty of the Rotary Club to add new members from time to time so that we may not only increase our usefulness and influence as a club, but also to extend the spirit of Rotary throughout the community. Today, I welcome to our ranks and admit to membership Marla Schneider and Mike Weeses. You have been elected to membership in this club because your fellow members believe you to be a worthy representative of your calling and also to possess the qualities that would permit you to exemplify the true spirit of Rotary in your public, business, social, and private life. I wish to impress upon you that you have been admitted not only to the Rotary Club of Muskegon, but to a worldwide association. And by virtue of membership in this club, you will be welcomed into the fellowship of any Rotary Club in the world. The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with it duties and obligations. You will be expected to attend the club meetings regularly, to perform your share of club service, and to place your knowledge and talents at the disposal of the club in its task for carrying out the principles of Rotary into the daily life of the community. I now formally admit you to membership in this club and affix to your lapel our emblem. Fellow Rotarians, I commend to you our newest Rotarians, Darla and Mike, and charge you all to welcome them. We are presenting you with a pin to your lapel to wear every meeting or wherever you are, especially if Kevin Donovan is around, because he'll give you a fine if you don't, to have the purpose of Rotary and a lovely plaque that you can put on the wall of your office that anyone who walks in knows that you're part of this worldwide organization. Thank you. Welcome. Hang around afterwards so people can shake your hand. Thank you. It's lovely to have our new Rotarians, and now we're going to go to the Paul Harris Fellows for something a little different. These are our old Paul Harris honors with a Paul Harris Plus.
We'll call them experience.
Experience. Nobody's old.
Yes. And there's your lineup there. I see that. Okay. I'm Jenny Sprague, here on behalf of the Paul Harris Fellow Committee, and honored to do something a little different for you today. Over the last few weeks, we have honored several of our fellow Muskegon Rotarians and community members with Paul Harris Awards, recognizing their support of the Rotary Foundation and our community. However, becoming a Paul Harris Fellow is a milestone and not a destination. We ask those who become Paul Harris Fellows to continue supporting the work of the Rotary Foundation, and then we recognize them as multiple Paul Harris Fellows as they continue contributing to the foundation. With each additional $1,000 donated, a Paul Harris Fellow is presented a pin with either a sapphire or a ruby, indicating each level of their contribution. In our club today, we currently have 38 multiple Paul Harris Fellows, so good work, guys. Today, I have the privilege of recognizing 4 of our club members for their continuing support of the Rotary Foundation. Will Tim Arter, Marianne Gorman, Ed Hendrickson, and Annette Jack please come forward. Hit your mark so Mike doesn't have to make you move. So. I usually give people a choice about this, but I decided not to today. Okay. Do we have Tim? Tim left. Okay, well, we'll have to tell him that we honored him. Okay, Tim and Abstentia, Marianne Gorman, Ed Hendrickson, and Annette Jack, you are being honored today as multiple Paul Harris Fellows in special appreciation for your continuing support of the work of the Rotary Foundation and the many ways in which your lives exemplify the humanitarian and educational objectives of the Rotary Foundation. Therefore, on behalf of the President of the Rotary International and the Chairman of the Trustees of the Rotary Foundation, I'm pleased to recognize Marianne Gorman and Annette Jack as Paul Harris +1 recipients. President Jane will now present each of you with a multiple Paul Harris Fellow lapel pin containing 1 sapphire in appreciation of your support of the humanitarian and educational objectives of the Rotary Foundation. Ed, on behalf of the President of the Rotary International and the Chairman of the Trustees of the Rotary Foundation, I'm pleased to recognize you as a Paul Harris Fellow +2, and Jane has just presented you with your pin with 2 sapphires. Tim, if you were here, would be receiving a Paul Harris Fellow +3, which has 3 sapphires. So please join me in congratulating Tim, Marianne, Ed, and Annette for your continued commitment to the work of the Rotary Foundation. We are pleased to join you in congratulating you for your service. Thank you. Whoops, I'm taking your notes. Yes, I will come back for that.
I don't know, I hate to not have Tim here, but those sapphires are so bright they might knock your eyes out, so. Thank you, Paul Harris Fellows. It is just an honor to be in the club with you, and and looking at your continued support. We have one announcement today, and that is from the Board of Directors. We have a kind of odd thing that happened. Some of our board members have been the recipient of some fishing, and that's not like Mike Vogus fishing for his trout. This is the actual fishing where somebody is saying, I've got this invoice that needs payment, won't you take care of it? Luckily, our board of directors is smart enough not to fall for that, but we just wanted to alert people that that has happened. So if you get a weird email saying send money to any one of us, please ignore it, don't answer it, don't click on it. If you want to send money, that's fine, we'll take it. But the only time you'll actually be asked for it is when you have to pay your dues. So if and also if you do get anything like that, it would be nice if you would let us know about it. What we're doing as a club to avoid these kind of situations is we're asking the club members to use the club runner for communication. That is a secure spot. It is password protected. The only one who can see the information in the club runner is a member of Rotary. So you might want to go into your club runner, look at your profile, and see if you're comfortable with the information that you have published there. You have an opportunity to give less or give all of the information you want. But we really want to keep security as a high priority for us. There are no other announcements for the club, and I want to say I appreciate the council and committee members who have announcements to get them to me by email on the Tuesday before. It's worked out great, and I really appreciate your cooperation in that. So now, in honor of what good Rotarians we are, we're going to have the raffle. See what happens? You join Rotary and you're immediately gratified. Wonderful. Thank you to our guests for being here, Jessica and Steve and Eleanor. We're glad that you were able to join us. We are going to adjourn the meeting by rising and having the four-way test. In the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned? Thank you, and we'll see you next week when we'll be having a program about the infill housing update in the city of Muskegon.